Scott, welcome to the program. I'm sorry it's under these circumstances, but I want to get the word out as best we can. So welcome, sir. We're happy to have you on.
Hey, we thank you, Grant. We appreciate your voice, especially while we were in Washington, D.C. And, just like my wife said, it's just not known. And so we appreciate you making the American people aware of this major crisis that's going on in Venezuela.
Does it amaze you, shock you, that nobody's talking about this? I would think this should be on the front page of even the corporate media outlets like the Washington Post and New York Times on a daily basis, and yet nobody's talking about this.
It's so true. I've been approached by, or when I've discussed it with media, many times when I'm the one that's approaching media, they vet it through their producers and they're like, this can't be real. And in fact, they go check it. And when they find out that it is real, then suddenly they want to report about it. But absolutely, it should be on the mouths of media, should be on the mouths of our leadership in Congress as well as the administration. And it just seems like I've said so many times, there's many opportunities when we're talking about Venezuela, talking about oil, talking about Chevron, we're talking about sanctions and all of those things. It just seems like the hostage is my son, Wilbert Castaneda, a Christian's brother, Lucas Hunter as well, and Jorge Vargas is another of the ones that I can mention. Those names are just not mentioned, and we just were so happy at that event, the mural that you heard my wife speak, to be able to give a name to them and to speak it out loud and get some interest. So thank you so much for helping us with this cause.
President Trump and his team managed to get back 6. I imagine that was a happy day for you to see 6 come home, but not your son. Are you still in contact with the administration? Has President Trump talked or reached out to the families at all?
I haven't talked to President Trump yet specifically. I've asked to, and I believe I know that he's expressed. I mean, his track record shows that he cares about hostages. So I'm hoping for that day when I could know for sure that President Trump knows about Joseph and the others, but that hasn't happened yet. And one thing, just going back to Rick Grinnell, all of us were seeking that proof of life, because the truth of the matter is, had it not been for Rick Grinnell bringing those 6 out, all of us would not even know where our family members are now, because they were missing at that point. So it's that proof of life is huge. But yes, having President Trump acknowledge that he knows about them, I know he's the man that's going to get the job done. It's just a matter of that plan, executing it and making it happen, and cutting through the politics and doing what makes sense to bring them home very quickly.
I've said it before. This is not a political issue. This is not a left or right. I would hope every Democrat senator in Washington, just as every Republican senator or a member of the House, would fight for your son's return. This is not about politics. This is about getting an American home, and a veteran at that. Can I ask you, do you know how your son was captured?
Only, just like Christian said, only from what was reported by those that were returned. And so the story is, he was visiting a family member of a friend in Colombia, and they got close to the border, and then they got grabbed. It's not known whether it was by cartel members trying to broker a deal to get money for a hostage or whatever, but just simply they were grabbed, and then they saw his military credentials on his phone. The bag went over the head, and the next thing you know, they are being held hostage.
Did the returning hostages, the ones that came home with Rick Grinnell, was your son like Gilbert Castaneda? Did they see and know of him? Were they in a jail cell near him? Do you get word exactly about your son?
I sure did, and that was what a light of a ray of hope that was. I actually was able to speak to his cellmate, and basically it was reported that both Castaneda and my son, because of their military training, had stepped up as leaders. We're kind of serving as a mental blocking and mental help for the others that were there, showing them how to have hope, how to keep their spirits up, and how to resist so that they could get better conditions while they were being held. But again, these are the worst prisons. And then when you go back and do research about the Citgo 6, other cases that we've been now forced to look into when this crisis began, it just makes, again, the proof of life so critical, because you hear about these places that are designed, Maduro designs these places to break a human being. And while it might be good for a month or a season, while they're waiting to be released, the stories are pretty horrific.